Alright, today we're going to be tying a streamer pattern called the slumpbuster. And this pattern is similar to a pike bunny, just in a smaller format for smallmouth, trout, largemouth. And the materials needed is going to be pretty minimal. In the vise, I'm going to be using a Gamasaku B10S hook. This is a stinger hook that is wide gap. A large cone head, 5mm. You're going to need some rabbit zonker strips, and make sure you do not get the cross-cut strips. I'm going to wrap a body with white crystal chenille. I'm going to add more weight and to help stabilize the cone head with using .20 lead wire. And I'm going to create a rib with brassy size ultra wire. The slumpbuster can be tied in a variety of different colors. Here's a olive drab. And you can also mix match colors, like this example. This one's also tied with a large bead head instead of the cone head. I just prefer the cone head. So we'll go ahead and get my hook in the vise. And I'm going to take my lead wire and add about 15 wraps of lead wire. This is a heavy fly pattern, but the purpose in making it so heavy and making a notable collar is to get it to push water. When you're fishing cloudy water, this really helps to get the fish's attention. Once I have my lead wire wrapped, I'm going to build a thread dam directly behind the lead wire. Trim off the excess. This particular application I'm using size 140 UTC ultra thread, and I just picked black. It doesn't really matter what the color is. After you build up the thread dam behind the lead wire, take some wraps to really secure it in. And we'll go ahead and tie in my ultra wire for the ribbing. And bring it back until the shank starts to bend down, and then bring your thread back forward. Now I'm going to tie in my crystal chenille. And then after that, I'm going to advance my thread all the way forward. By taking touching wraps forward with the crystal chenille, going to build up the body. And bring it all the way forward behind the cone head. And trim off the excess. And I'm going to take my zonker strip in the very front of it. I'm going to strip the hair off of the actual strip and actually try to push that into the cone head. And secure that down on the top of the hook. Now it does help if you wet the hair and pull the hair straight up 90 degrees. And we're going to split the hair fibers where the wire is going to capture it. And take your time here and really try to keep the zonker strip on the top of the shank, and everywhere that the wire is crossing the zonker strip, try to split the hair fibers so you're not catching a lot of fibers. And we're going to bring that all the way forward behind the cone head and capture our wire. Once it's captured, you can helicopter off the rest. Now the length of the tail, what I do is I bring the strip forward and I will trim it, trying not to cut the actual hair itself, about midway of the cone head. I think that gives me I'm happy with that length. You can always make it longer or shorter. And again, I'm going to take the same zonker strip. You can change the color at this point if you want. And I'm going to strip the hair off the very end. And again, secure it right behind the cone head. Now I'm going to wrap the zonker strip, pulling the fibers back over the body. Up until I get right behind the cone head. About 3 wraps is usually enough. And at this point, I'm going to capture it again. And secure it in place. Now carefully trim the rest of your zonker strip. And pull the fibers back and finish securing. Now I'm going to do a whip finish. And we'll go ahead and throw a second whip finish just to be safe. trim my thread. I'm going to flip it over and take the tip of my head cement bottle and try to get it right on those whip finish threads. And that is all there is to tying a slump buster.